A couple weeks ago you got robbed. Oh my God. Like at gunpoint or something? You? You're so sweet. That's so freaking nice.
It's the second time.
Oh my God, what the hell? Okay, yeah, no thank you. I'd probably shit my pants. But no, I mean, like, I've definitely been robbed at gunpoint. I mean, like, not me, like, not held at my head, but like, when I was in the car with somebody, like, oh, that's wild.
It's loud out there today. Some days are quiet down here and other days are just loud. Today's a loud day.
Oh my gosh, I'm kind of nervous. Like,
yeah, everybody gets nervous. You'll be fine. I'm gonna ask you questions you already know.
Okay, because I was like, what's that?
That's just to sync the audio when I.
It's like so interesting to me. Like I love this. I mean, it seems like such a fun job too.
Fun and dangerous at the same time.
Fun and dangerous. I mean, yeah, dangerous is fun. So
yeah, I guess it's like Skid Row. It's fun and dangerous. Right?
Yeah, I mean, why not? So,
all right, Nicole.
Yes.
Nicole, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the Bay Area, California. It's up north. So I grew up in Oakland, California, and then in the hills, Oakland Hills, and then moved to San Leandro and then to Alameda. So I did a lot of moving around just at a young age.
And how was your family as a kid?
My family as a kid, well, I'm an only child. So my mom and my dad, they had me, they worked a ton, and I never really saw them at all. So my grandparents really took me in, took me to school, took me up from school, took me all my doctor's appointments and stuff like that. They pretty much raised me, and my parents saw me at night once in a while. But while I was growing up, my mom's an alcoholic, and my dad's kind of one of those aloof, kind of like doesn't really like, even like kind of denies it. And there was a lot of violence in my household. They would constantly fight, like aggressively fight, throw things at each other, and I'd be hitting each other, bad fighting. And as a kid and an only child, I felt I had nobody, and I just would hang out in the closet. And a lot of the times, I would just, that was my spot. And I would just sit there and just cry. It was sad, but that's kind of all I knew growing up. It was tough. Yeah, and it was really lonely. I remember I had a lot of animosity towards my mom and my dad for not having more kids. I always thought why? I would always be why couldn't you have more kids? I hate this. My mom's an only child as well. So, I'd always be how it felt, Mom? Because it really was lonely. I always tell people that that are pregnant. I'm have another kid, don't, it's lonely. But, and then my grandparents, so they're obviously older. So, it was kind of boring, and just I didn't have anybody. I felt very alone. And so I think that's why down here is a big reason. And I like a lot, I know it's dangerous, whatever, but on the other hand, it's you meet some of the most loving people I've ever met down here. So I don't know. And I think that loneliness brought on a lot of stuff that I'm going through now in my life. I'm an addict. I'm a drug addict. So.
When did drugs start for you?
Well, it really started with alcohol, and that started in high school. I, did the typical party girl. I was the party girl friends, and there's a group of 7 of us that I'm still friends with to this day. But we partied a lot. We did Coke was probably the next thing, and that was probably around 20s, after high school. And then I started just that's when I was. Let me think here. Now I'm all but yeah, so then it moved on to harder stuff. It was the typical gateway drug, and then got alcohol, and then it more and more piled on, Coke, and then I started doing methamphetamine I'd say a couple years ago, and then about 2 years ago as well, I started doing heroin, and now the in thing fentanyl. Everyone's starting to do fentanyl, and was doing heroin because it's stronger, all that stuff. So I'm currently on fentanyl. Yeah, currently, yeah. So that is
Be careful with that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's me and my friends were talking about it, and we were saying that it's sick, but it's the truth, because someone will overdose, and as an addict, you just want the best, powerful shit out there. You want the most like hard, you want the best high, you want to get that high. That's all we're, searching for. And so like when you hear about someone overdosing, like you're like, oh my gosh, like I want, like, where'd they pick up? Where'd they get that bag? 'Cause I want that bag. You know what I mean? Like it's so sick. 'Cause you're like, it's a sick thing. So yeah, currently on fentanyl. I'm really trying to get clean. I don't want to live like this. I mean, I've been, crying. I spent a lot of days crying, like just praying to God, like to like let this disease, free me, because I've been captive to it. I feel like a prisoner, like in my own body, for years now. Like the last 2 years have just been absolute hell, and I just so badly want to be free from it, but it's hard. It's really hard.
What do you think people don't understand about trying to quit drugs? because so many people, like,
yeah.
I'll read the comments sometimes and people say, oh, just quit, get back to your family. And
yeah, what I think people don't understand is that it's not us anymore. It's not me like anymore. Like once the drug, like it's like I'm dependent on it, and once I feel I need it, like Nicole's not there anymore. The drug takes over, and I feel like a lot of people take it so personally. Like I'm the person, like I'm doing these things. Like I don't know, like it's not me. Like I am not the drug. Like, and the drug is not me. And then we become almost one when I'm using. And like a lot of people forget like that. It's like I'm not this person that just because I'm doing bad things, and I maybe come off as like disgusting drug addict, like as my mother likes to say, even though she's a fucking alcoholic. I'm not, that's not me anymore, and I'm sick.
If there was a choice, the choice might have been years ago when you first picked up the cocaine or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the choice is no longer a choice now.
Yeah.
It's a necessity.
Yeah, at first I believe like it's
more important than breathing, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And I believe that it's a disease of choice, like is what I used to always say. Like at first you like, yeah, you have the, like if you're clean after, like you're clean, you got clean, it's a choice to pick that up again. But after you have gotten clean and you're working the sobriety game and you're getting sober and you're in recovery, yeah, and you pick up again, that is a choice. But once you picked up again, that's it. Like there is no choice. Like it literally controls your whole life. Like it is more important than breathing. Like it's like crazy. Like I don't think, like right now, I don't think I can't remember the last time I had like a good meal except for last night when Hoover gave me that meal. Like that was the last time I'd like eaten in like probably like a couple weeks.
What kind of things that maybe people that don't use drugs that take for granted in their lives do you not experience? Like eating well, or
like literally like sleeping, like water, like having, like I don't know. It's like, okay, let's
taking
see.
a shower or bath.
Yeah, like that's what I meant. Like taking a shower, like taking a freaking like a shit in a nice bathroom, or like I don't know, just being like in somewhere they can be with. If it's raining, like they have a roof over their head. Like it's just like the littlest things. Like I don't know, like. I took a shower the other day and I was just like in the shower and I was like crying because I was like, this is so amazing. Like, and then I thought to myself, I'm like, these are things that like years ago, like I would have never questioned. Like
how much comfort is there in your life?
Comfort?
Yeah.
Right now, there isn't any, like besides the drugs.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, like that's why, like when I use drugs, like I'm like, that's like comfort. That's my only comfort.
I think a lot of people go through their lives and they sleep in a comfortable bed, they sit on a comfortable sofa, they sit in a warm, comfortable house.
Yeah.
They wake up to a nice, comfortable breakfast, and everything's around comfort. Yeah. Your existence is about survival.
And if you would have known me, like in high school, like even like beginning, like I went to community college, like even the beginning years of like community college, like you would have never guessed. Like I actually went home for Christmas this year, and I saw some of my best girlfriends that I went to school with, and they were like, we would have never known. We would have never known like that you would turn out like this. And like that hurts. Like that hurts to hear,
Well, you don't look like a drug addict.
Thanks.
You could go to Santa Monica right now and
really
walk around and no one would say, oh my God, look at that drug addict.
Really? Because like in my body and in my head, like I feel like I look like the most disgusting thing out there. Like I feel like I look disgusting. And I think that's like the drug kind of telling me like, you look disgusting. You are disgusting. Like that's like the type of things I tell myself when I'm on drugs, because I feel like I'm a loser. I feel just like when I look at myself, like that's what I see, like a disgusting drug addict. But it's
You-
funny.
You've been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like other people will say like you look good or like you don't look like a drug addict, and like I'm like, are you kidding me?
No, you
Like,
definitely don't. But how long have you been homeless?
I've been homeless. God, it's the last year full. I'd say fully because I would go in, but like my parents would take me back and like we stay with them, but like fully homeless like the last like year.
But living this kind of life where you're doing drugs and homeless. And all
Well,
that.
in and out, like I've been to treatment. So it's not like I haven't tried to get clean before. I have been treatment like seven times.
Yeah. So I guess my point is, when you're living this kind of life, the respect and dignity that a person might have in a normal existence is gone.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're like beaten down. Your self-worth is beaten down to, you see yourself as beautiful and attractive or anything like that. Whereas you as an outsider who just met you, you look beautiful and
Thank you.
you're attractive as can be, but you're not. Yeah, and you certainly don't look like a drug addict, but you don't see it that way.
No, I don't see it that way at all. That's why it's
Is shame a big part of that?
Yeah, shame. A big one for me is guilt. I missed a lot of things like because of drugs and alcohol. I missed like my grandparents, the ones that raised me, who I was really close with. My grandma just died like in October. No.
And you're how old again?
29.
29.
Yeah, she just died this past year, and I wasn't there to see her go. I wasn't, I was too busy doing drugs and getting high and like partying, as my mom likes to say. But it's like not a party anymore. It's like that's another thing that I think a lot of people who don't use drugs kind of like don't realize is that they think like it's a party or something like, oh, I'm having all this fun, but it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. It becomes a time where it's just like absolute hell. And
What emotions do you deal with most?
what emotions do I deal with mostly?
Yeah, do you get depressed?
Oh yeah, I grew up. When I grew up, I was depressed. I have a lot of anxiety. But yeah, depression's a big one. I'm really hard on myself, so I get down on myself a lot, and I get really sad, and I get really emotionally like distraught. Like I can't find comfort in anything besides like numbing it. It seems so.
You have no kids?
No kids. No.
How have you escaped not having kids? Because so many women around your age in this lifestyle, like they've had 7 kids and they're not raising any of them.
How I escaped?
Birth control.
Not even. I did have a couple abortions, but I don't know. I don't want to say I got lucky because like I don't want that to come off as rude. Like people that have kids, like, oh, like that that sucks. Like I don't know. I just kind of knew that I didn't want kids until I was like 100% ready and 100% able to give the kids a life that I would want them to have. Like, I don't want to have kids while I'm a drug addict. Like, while I'm using drugs, like it's just not fair to them.
How are you making sure that doesn't happen?
Well, I mean, I do like protection, of course, and I did have a steady boyfriend there for a little bit, so we, it just, to be honest with you, I don't really know. Like, I would say, like, I just happened that way. I was lucky. Like, I could have been pregnant because I've had 2 abortions. So I told myself the next time I ever get pregnant, like, I'm going to have it because I have to. I can't have 3 abortions, But I haven't taken any precautions to that, to be honest with you. And I have gotten lucky in that sense. So it's like, why I should start, changing my life around now because it's like I'm still in the place where I can, like, have a kid with being clean. I can get clean and still have a kid. Like I don't
because you're so like mentally together and attractive. There's gonna be so many comments saying, "Oh, girl, just get your stuff together and just quit." And
yeah, it's like it's so annoying hearing that because if it was that easy, like I would have done it.
You would have done it long ago.
I would have done it a long time ago. Like it's, and my mom and dad, they always say things like that make me feel so terrible. Like, why are you doing this to our family? Like, why are you doing this to us? Like, don't you love us? And like stuff like that. It's like, I love them with everything in my heart. Like every inch of my heart, I love so hard. Like that's the thing. Another thing about drug addicts is that we feel so deeply. We feel so like emotionally and deeply inside of us like that. It's like almost too much, and we're trying. And so when things happen to us, we like, especially me, like lose it. Like I'm so hard for me to go through these emotions because I feel so hard, and that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize is that we're just trying to numb that. I'm such an empathetic person. Like when someone else is going through something, like I feel that. Like I feel their pain, and I'm always like, it's too much to bear. I'm just, I need to like numb that feeling.
It sounds like you still have friends though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I still have friends. I have my girlfriends back home. They could not be any different than me though. Like they're all super successful. One works for Twitter, one is, a nurse, one's a doctor, one's a model, one's, and then it's like, here I am, like the drug addict, the homeless drug addict. And it's like, that's why I also use, because I'm like, I don't want to think about that. Like I don't want to think about the fact that like I threw away my life, like pretty much. And they're just all like these successful women, beautiful, successful women, that's really hard. And when I go home, and see my parents, it's another big question. It's like, don't you see your friends? Like, why don't you want to follow in their footsteps, or what, and it's like, why I don't even want to go home anymore.
It makes you feel worse.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even want to go home anymore or see anyone, because it's like, that's all I hear. That's all I hear is like, why?
Shame is such a huge part of what I hear in these stories.
Shame is it literally eats you up. And one thing I learned that people told me in treatment was that like, they're just like, you gotta let go of that shame and guilt, because what is that even doing for you? You're holding on to shame and guilt, but why? Like, why are you doing that to yourself? It's like, it's not helping you. Like, but again, it's one of those things where it's so much easier said than done. But it's true. It's like, it's not helping. It's, you sit in that shame and guilt. It's just like, it's just, it's like a cycle. It's just, you sit, but think of all the things you've done. You're in guilt, you use, now you're in shame. It's like, okay, it's like a cycle. And it's just like, you need to learn, I need to find a way to break the cycle. That's, and stay there and stay in there. I've gotten like, the longest time I've had clean was probably like 6 months. And that to me was like a miracle.
How'd that happen?
I went to rehab, and when I got out, I went to really good sober living. And it was I was living in Arizona at the time. I stayed close with the community. I gained a fellowship, which is, I think, the most important thing is like finding people that you can trust that are clean and live like a good, like a lifestyle that you envy. Kind of like I had a great sponsor, and I stayed connected. Went to meetings. I showed up for people who needed help. I was really into like helping other women. I love, I'm an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I like to help women, especially because like I said, grew up a really lonely life, and like I didn't have that woman to like role model to look up to. My mother was very shut off and didn't tell me much about anything. And so I showed up for them, and that's what helped my sobriety, is showing up for others is a big reason why like I stayed clean during that time. Is
6 months long enough, you feel, in rehab? Or would a longer stay have helped?
Well, I went to rehab for 4 months, and then I went to sober living, which is like kind of like a halfway house, for 2 months. So honestly, like, no, like I feel like rehab should be like a year, like more. It's some that are 30 days. I'm like, you're not even like detoxed at that 30 days. You're not even like, the drugs aren't even out of your system yet. So yeah, I would say like a year plus would be ideal for rehab.
I've heard that exact comment so many times from addicts who have gotten clean. Is without at least a year and a half, you're just going to relapse.
Yeah, it's true, because you have like it's more that it's not, the drugs are just as like what we use, but we need to fix what's in here, and there's really no time limit to that. Like it's no guarantee that like, okay, like 3 months you're gonna be you're gonna be great. You're gonna be
with all the deaths, all the fentanyl deaths that have happened lately. How do you feel about that?
When I first went to rehab, they told me like, you're gonna see a lot of these people are gonna lose their lives. Like you're not 3, maybe 4 people out of this room, and there'd be a room full of like 40 people like are gonna make it. Like they're actually gonna get this thing. And I was like, that's like such a lie. Like so going 7 times, I've lost, I don't know, I would want to say like over like 40 people to fentanyl, like so far, like since like in the last like 2 years. So
40.
Yeah, probably more. And it's like you go on Facebook, and every day there's like a new person up there like oh, another so-and-so died overdose, so-and-so died overdose, you know? And some of these people are people that you never think, like, you know, like, we're even, like, you know, I have friends back home that I never even thought would use drugs. And, like, they used fentanyl one time and they're gone. And then there's people like me where I've been using it now. Fentanyl, like, probably, like, the last 6 months and steadily. Now there's carfentanil, too, which is, like, an even stronger form of fentanyl. And
when you're using, are you worried about that, or is it just
no, you need your fix. And I was telling, like, for me, like, it's like it's like the closest thing to dying without dying is, like, I'm currently so depressed that, like, just want to be in that state of, because someone's like, why do you want to do that to yourself? And it's like, I just want to feel nothing. And I said, I want to be as close to death as possible without actually dying. And that to me is like getting high on fentanyl.
Did you feel loved as a child, do you think, with your family?
I felt loved, yes, but I didn't feel like I could. I felt loved, but I didn't feel like I could be it's like a weird, I can't explain it, but I definitely know I was loved, but I don't think that, like, I was, like, able to, like, be who I really wanted to be. I felt I had to please. Yeah, exactly. I felt I had to please. I was very, like, always wanting. I'm a person that likes to please everyone, and it never gets me anywhere. But I felt like almost like I had to please my parents. But I didn't. And I definitely know there was love, but it just didn't feel like there was any room for me to be myself or, like, know who I was, because I was constantly trying to, like, please my mom, please my dad, like, things that they wanted me to do. But I never really got to do, like, anything that I didn't get to know myself.
I think what you just said is probably the most important part of your story. You know, because after doing so many of these talks, the difference between love and unconditional love is huge. Mm-hmm. And yes, you were loved by your parents, but if you really break it down, you were conditionally loved by your parents, and that's a very different story.
Yeah.
And then you end up going through life as an adult, never feeling like you were truly seen, truly loved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's, like, weird to me.
And that's hard to deal with. So drugs are the remedy.
Yeah.
And then addiction comes after, and now you're stuck in quicksand and you can't get out.
Yeah, and it's weird to me when someone tells me that they love me, or, like, guys will be like I love you, or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck?
And then the next chapter of that is, which I've seen many times, is when somebody truly loves you, you can't accept it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You'll flake, you'll reject it, you'll push it away, you'll sabotage it somehow.
Yeah, and that's why I was going to say.
Because it's not what you experienced as love. What you experienced as love is that conditional screwing with from your parents, and that's the only situation that you're going to be satisfied with. Mm-hmm. Not something better, and not something different, but that. Mm-hmm. And that's a hard thing to break free of.
Yeah. Like, what I was going to say was that I find it very strange, like, almost when people, like, love me, because I'm like, why? You know, like, what do you see in me that I don't see in me? Because like I said, I'm so hard on myself. I'm just, you know, so when people, like, see things in me like that, like positive, positive traits and stuff, I'm just like, what? I don't know. It's like, I just wish I could see myself that way, but I don't. Like, when I look in the mirror sometimes, like, I've, like, even, like, been, like, I've even cried. I'm like, oh, like, you're just disgusting. And I tell myself that, and it's like, who wouldn't feel that way after telling themselves that all the time? You know, it's like, people always, like, say good things about yourself in the mirror, like, some positive, like, you know, things about yourself. I'm just like, I can't. It's like, I can't bring myself to do it because I don't see that.
And the more you try to do it, the more you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I know, like, doing the drugs and going down this road is not what's going to make my life better, but it's like, I just want to feel better in that moment, that it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I need to feel better, and I need to feel better right now. So, like even knowing that, it's like, I don't know, it's just, I just need to feel better in that moment. And that's, to me, that all that matters is, like, I know, like right now, like, this is my only outfit. Like, this, you know, I haven't showered in days, and I haven't eaten.
And you're still beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And that's why it's like, dude, like.
But
Nicole.
You can't hear that.
No, yeah.
I could tell you that 1 billion times.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, no, like, stop, you know.
Do you think an environment, a situation where you are getting nothing but respect and kindness and dignity, and there's none of this abuse that you're getting here on Skid Row or the streets, might actually turn your thinking around and make you able to love yourself and accept love from others?
Do I think, sorry.
Just an environment where you are consistently treated with love and respect and dignity.
Do I think that
might
would
change your thinking about yourself and make you able to accept a better life?
That's, I mean, I hope, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because I haven't felt, I don't know what it's going to take.
Yeah, it's hard to even imagine.
It's hard to imagine, yeah.
When you're living in a tent.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Or living on the street, whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to imagine that. I want that so badly, but I'm not sure I'll ever, 29 years of feeling something and then what does it take to change it? I don't know.
You can't just change direction quickly.
Yeah. So I would love to say yes, but I do feel the love though, like down here, like some of the people that have gone through the most horrendous lives, like have gone through the most craziest things I've ever heard, are the most loving people I've ever met. So it's like, why am I not like, what are they doing? Like, what are they, it's crazy. Like some of the people down here are just so loving and had gone through hell their whole life. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are they doing? What did they have to experience that I didn't? Like, when am I gonna learn? Like, to at least just and I do love other people a lot. Like, I can love other people. I care. I'm very caring. But when it comes to myself, it's like, like I don't give that love to myself like I do to others. Like I'd give like my shirt off I give my shirt off my back to somebody before, doing something for myself.
I mean, it's cliche, but it's true that you need to love yourself in order to love others. And if you loved yourself, loved and accepted and forgave yourself and just loved yourself completely, you'd be more able to be kind and loving to others. Mm-hmm. And you'd still be taking care of yourself. In fact, the more you give to others, the more you'd be taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's why when I see parents and they're just worried about their kids, and not treating themselves so well, like, no, take care of yourself. You take care of yourself and you're going to naturally take care of your kids. Your kids are going to pick up on that, and it'll just be a positive cycle of love and kindness because you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You'll naturally take care of your kids. But when you're just trying to take care of your kids and you don't really count, your kids pick up on that and the cycle continues.
It's true. I think that's what happened with my mom is like she's an alcoholic. She's been an alcoholic my whole life, but now it's like she never really took care of herself.
Did she come from an alcoholic family?
My grandparents, like, I guess they drank. I don't know much about my mom's side of my family is very secretive. There's a lot of things that they don't tell, but I guess my mom grew up with.
It's always a sign. Yeah,
exactly. Like, so I guess there was a lot of alcoholism when my mother was younger growing up, but when they were taking care of me and stuff, like they never, there was no alcohol in the house. They never drank. But my mom really like just didn't take care of herself. Like she worried about me constantly. She still does. She's constantly like, she'll text me and be like, oh my God, like what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's like way past that. I'm like, Mom, I'm 29 years old and I'm homeless. Like, there's really not much you can say to me, like, like to be like, Nicole, what are you doing? Like,
how are you supporting yourself?
Huh?
How do you support yourself?
I
when a female hesitates, I kind of know what the answer might be.
Yeah, men definitely are a big part of that. Like guys, sleeping around with men, I've definitely done my fair share of that.
Yeah, that's a quick and easy way to make good money.
Yeah, just recently, like
I've learned it's now for men as well as women.
Yeah.
I used to assume it was just women.
Yeah, no.
That had that option, but now I've learned that I was wrong. The men they won't admit it as easily, but they're making money the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
Not all, but a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just recently, like I had a couple. I say clients, but I'm like, it's too fancy of a word. But I was selling photos to them, just naked, whatever they kind of wanted type thing. Videos, whatever they wanted. They'd give me money to go to the sex store, and I would, get you know, things that they wanted me to do, and I would film it and I would send it over, and they would give me the money and Venmo me like, I think the most like recently I made was like $300 for a video, like a 6-second video of doing like who like is like, why wouldn't I do that? You know, like
this is through OnlyFans or just
no, it's just like I met a couple people on Instagram. A few guys messaged me and were just like, you know, hey, would you do this? Like, and I was so like down and out at the time that I was like, well, what if they don't send me the money? And so I just did it anyways. And like he sent the money right after, and I got lucky because like a normal, you know, a lot of people would just probably be like, oh, wouldn't send the money over and got my video, but he sent the money, and like we stayed in touch, and you know, like it was just you know, it just happened where I started consistently sending this person videos, and and he had money and he just wanted to spend it on that, I guess. So like recently he kind of cut that off. He said he's going through family stuff, so now I'm just like, okay, now I gotta like go back to like doing like the stuff that I don't want to do type of stuff, like more like the sleeping with the men and the hooking up with for the money. That video stuff kind of kept, at least for me, not to like have to be physical with guys, which was like, but you know, starting an OnlyFans, I was like thinking about it. I was like, maybe I should do that, or you know, and then I'm like, why wouldn't people? It's such easy money. And then it's like I forget that some people like actually like have like those morals where like they don't want to like, you know, show off their bodies and stuff like that. And I started to feel bad about it because I'm like, oh, like there was a day when I would never consider doing something like that, you know, and now it's like, I'm in my head, I'm like, well, why wouldn't people do that? It's just so crazy how like things have changed for me because of like the addiction and stuff like that. So
what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned from all of this?
Just to like really like be yourself. Like don't be like afraid to be who you truly are, because that's what I feel like I wasn't doing. Like I was afraid to show people the real side of me, and I would say just like live life like to just be who you want to be. Like that's what I've always wanted, is just like I want to find who you are and love that person and live to your fullest. Like don't let like other people, like don't spend your whole life trying to please others, like, because it's never going to be like, you're never going to please, it's never going to be enough. Like,
you think that tendency came from the way your parents conditionally?
Yeah. I truly believe that. Like, don't worry about other people. You know, just do what you love and like be who you are. And if that's not enough to someone, then they don't need to be a part of your life. Like, don't sit there trying to please someone and like to loving you. Or so, yeah, I would say that would be like the most important thing, is just like be who you are and rock it. Like if someone doesn't like you, then that's them. Like that's a big thing for me, is like I'm constantly concerned if someone likes me or not. You know, did I bother? Did I piss them off? Like who fucking cares? Like if they're your friend at the end of the day, they're gonna be there for you. So, you know, that's what I would say would be mine.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
Good one. Nicole, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity.
It was very interesting.
Thank you.
I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so much more like that I'd love to share with you. Like if you'd want me to down the line.
Come on back. We can do this again.
Really fun. Yeah.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, I would love that. Okay.
Yeah,
well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so interesting.
Thank you.